welcome to 2022 and the Movie Club. I'm Rehana.
I'm JT. Welcome back, my friends.
And we've got something really exciting to talk about today. Spoiler alert, if you haven't watched this movie, you should probably stop this review and go and watch it right now. I don't care how you watch it. Sneak into a theater, download it off somewhere, get it off a friend down the road. Watch this movie.
Wrap yourself in PPE and get into a theatre because it is absolutely worth seeing.
Absolutely. Well, not to give away too much, but we definitely genuinely enjoyed this movie. But let's pretend you haven't seen the movie and talk a little bit about it. We've got Spider-Man, Tom Holland, back again as a angry teenager about to go to college when he realizes that he's mucked up his college application by being Spider-Man.
That's right, revealed as Spider-Man at the end of Far From Home, the second in the trilogy. This one is, of course, called No Way Home. They love those home puns, of course, in the Spider-Man flicks. But yes, he was revealed by J. Jonah Jameson to be Peter Parker's Spider-Man, and this film spins off from that.
But that's not all, folks. Here's the real blockbuster. Brace yourselves, you might want to sit down.
Spider-Man's real name is... Spider-Man's name is Peter Parker.
What the... So if you haven't watched that movie either, I would recommend giving that a rewatch.
I rewatched that the other day, and it's better than I thought the first time. I didn't particularly enjoy it the first time. I thought Jake Gyllenhaal's performance was a little off, but on rewatch, I really enjoyed it. So, you know, this is probably, for me, the best superhero trilogy in terms of consistency, because you have three great and very different movies.
It's interesting because I thought we'd all be suffering from Marvel fatigue, but they still managed to pull this out time after time and make Spider-Man a compelling character.
Absolutely, and particularly in comparison to things like Eternals or even Shang-Chi, which were perhaps less engaging and certainly less successful at the box office.
Definitely. So back to the story. He accidentally manages to summon a bunch of supervillains from other universes.
The multiverse is real?
Revealing the multiverse that was first revealed in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. That was sort of the spiritual precursor to that, to this film, and it's really interesting the way that this film subtly references that.
It's great to see how much thought has gone into this universe, isn't it? I mean, who would have thought a movie that came out, 6, 8 years ago? When was it?
A number of years ago it came out. Although consider it is based on 50 plus years of comic book lore, so you know they did have a lot to dig into. But I would commend director John Watts on pulling it all together, because this is a movie with a lot of characters. I mean, if we just want to run through the cast very quickly, let's go back and forth.
So we've got Tom Holland as Spider-Man.
We've got Zendaya as Mary Jane, or MJ in this case.
Of course, we've got Benedict Cumberbatch back again as Doctor Strange.
We've got Jacob Batalon as the man in the seat, Ned, his best friend.
And of course, we've got the classic Spider-Man. Oh my gosh, they brought back Tobey Maguire, and they brought back what's his face?
They brought Andrew Garfield, who is
Garfield.
now a song and dance man apparently, but really has I think had a bit of a resurgence coming back in this role, because both of those classic Spider-Men are fantastic in their roles.
Absolutely, and I know a lot of people didn't really enjoy Andrew Garfield, but I loved his trilogy. I know.
I actually skipped. Was it a trilogy or
No, it was two movies.
Duology?
Duology.
I actually skipped the second one because I'd heard it was so bad, and particularly Jamie Foxx's performance as Electro.
You see me? You see me? They see me.
If a movie is only as good as its villains, and I would suggest in terms of superhero movies that's the case, this movie is stacked with fantastic bad guy performances.
Fantastic. I mean, just bringing back all the bad guys from the other movies, just a stroke of genius. Like, it builds on that nostalgia that we've had since the very first Spider-Man movie. Back in the day, I remember being a teenager and seeing Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man and just having my mind blown. And I felt the same way watching this movie.
Well, absolutely. I mean, at the time, Tobey Maguire was a 30-year-old teenage Spider-Man, I think. And now, look, the age is showing. I would suggest he looks worse than me if I were to put him in a spider suit. But, credit to him, because he brings a gravitas to the role. And it's such a nice contrast to Tom Holland, who is still, even through all of the things he has been through as the character, still has so much energy and
optimism,
life.
Right? There's
Absolutely.
Like something still very young about him. How old is he now? He's definitely not a teen.
I think eternally 19, really. But no, he's got to be in his mid-20s somewhere.
But he has
that's
such a
how old he
great
is.
time of having that sort of innocence and that optimism and just that, verve for life that
He is a wonderful actor, but he is surrounded by wonderful actors.
Oh.
Let's talk about Zendaya for a moment, because she is in another film that we'll be reviewing shortly, Dune, where it gives a very different and doesn't really get the depth that she does in this. And I think she is a fantastic actress.
She is absolutely fantastic, and I'm so delighted to see her in literally everything I'm watching these days. And it's nice to see, like, a black female representation that isn't the stereotype, and just to have her... Everything about her character is fantastic. It's fully realised. She never feels like a prop for Peter, which unfortunately I feel like the previous Mary Janes
absolutely, they were.
So, you know, as a full character herself, I'm really excited to see if, you know, would she ever get a spin-off? Is that something you think that could happen?
Look, anything is possible in the current universe where you're getting, you know, odd spin-offs from...
Everybody gets a Netflix show.
Everyone gets a show. You know, it's, again, character arcs is something that really defines this series. I think even Jon Favreau as Happy Hogan has an enormous amount of sort of arc across the, dozen films he's probably been in now.
Yeah, Peter, this is Happy. Who are those guys, huh? What are the guys made of mud? What's going on? Call me back.
And I think that's the delightful thing about the current Marvel universe is, on the one hand, it could get tiring, that it almost feels like a soap opera that you have to constantly keep up to date with. But on the other hand, the characters are so enjoyable and have such a presence and I think such a place in our heart right now that you're just delighted to see where the story takes them next, right?
Ever since I got bit by that spider, I've only had 1 week where my life has felt normal.
Can I ask, who was your favourite villain performance in it?
Oh, okay, this is showing my age, but it's definitely Willem Dafoe. And it's not just because he does the internet-breaking fourth wall meme when he introduces himself. Like, I definitely squeed when that happened. But Willem Dafoe is such a force of nature. Like, every movie that he's in, he just seems to... Every scene he was in, actually, I would say was competing with nearly everybody else.
Look, he's a fantastic actor, and I mean, he has, you know, his career speaks for itself. With special sort of mention to Alfred Molina, who is great as Dr. Octopus. I think the standout for me is Jamie Foxx. As Electro, he was amazing in this. The character had so much more depth and sort of range, I think, than Jamie Foxx shows in so many films. And the fact that this was sort of, you know, 7th on the cast list, I think it is credit to him as an actor.
I guess he needed to almost redeem himself from the last movie, right? And this was his chance to do it.
Look, it was a chance at redemption for so many people, really. Andrew Garfield has now come back. As you say, you know, this is 2022. It's time for redemption for all of the people who have done bad things in the past.
Maybe, who knows? Omicron, you've still got time to redeem yourself. Give us all superpowers. But yeah, definitely go see the movie. We thoroughly enjoyed it. I think we're going to go see it again if we get the opportunity.
Absolutely. The moment this current wave of Omicron peaks, I think we're going to be back in the cinemas checking this out again, because it'll be there for a while. You know, there's not a lot huge else coming out. So check it out when you can.
And yeah, be part of the next step in the Marvel universe. Well, that's been us for this week. Thank you so much for joining us for the first review of 2022. We can only get better from here, right? Catch us next week when we talk about Dune.
See you next week.